It is happening. The inflation rate is expected to rise once again, everybody. And now the Federal Reserve is planning to take big action to address this major issue. With millions of people worried about with Congress stepping in for a little extra relief, people don't know if they're going to receive stimulus payments in 2023. But in this video, I'll explain to you the most important stimulus check information that you have to know. Because remember folks, if President Biden does send out the fourth stimulus check in time, many people will get the relief that they so desperately need. And that would definitely be a great thing. So I hope that President Biden can keep his promise to the American people and send out stimulus payments by 2024. Do you think he will? Tell me in the comments. Well, high inflation and the state of the economy remain at the top of the list of America's top concern. A new poll showed that at least 60% of respondents said they have a great deal about concern and inflation in the economy. The percentage increased by 2 points for both categories from a poll taken last year. The Fed is already raising its key interest rate by 0.25 percentage points, underscoring the central bank's commitment to fighting inflation, even if that heightens the financial pressure on the country's banks. Now folks, listen to this. As recently as 2 weeks ago, the Fed appeared set for a steeper rate hike and prepared to keep them elevated for longer. But a startling deposit run at Silicon Valley Bank and a closure of two smaller banks and a takeover of two other banks has created this panic in the financial system. Many economists as well as the Fed noted the bank's newfound caution following the turmoil would likely drag on the economy. The high cost of living is causing financial headaches for millions of people. That is why many states and cities have approved new relief. There is a $5 million fund from which Americans could get much needed $500 stimulus checks. Everybody, listen up. It's important now. This is happening in the state of Missouri, specifically in St. Louis, and the checks are directed at families with low income. The mayor, who was one of the most people affected by this crisis, said that the people in the city and state have already a plan to send cash to hundreds of families, if not thousands, who are going through a tough time. The bill was presented and is calling for the state to spend $5 million in funds that are coming from the federal crisis stimulus package. They are urging the federal government to agree on sending $500 monthly payments to local families for the next year and a half. This idea is for this program to begin as soon as possible, and its approval will go into 2024. Now, the program is not approved yet, but a green light would mean that eligible people will be with low income, who are either parents or guardians of children in public city schools, and it's a great chance for the city of St. Louis to offer support for working families and their children. The Nebraska governor has also made some school aid and tax cut plans to keep on rolling this week, as lawmakers give a strong thumbs up to a package of property tax changes worth more than $3 billion over the next 6 years. The bill introduced by the senator would increase Nebraska's two property tax credit program, cap school property tax growth, and eliminate almost all community college property tax. The package represents the second piece of Governor Pillen's plan to advance this bill. The first piece would cut the state's top income tax rate by 1/3 and make other income tax changes possible. The governor said the property tax package would provide substantial property tax relief for everyday Nebraskans. And last August in the state of Maine, a new law took effect aimed at giving relief to the homeowners who have watched inflation and demand drive up their property values and thus their taxes.
For a bad batch of water. The system then was paused, distributing more water into the system in an effort to have a better chemistry or a better jar test of what they were producing. And so that meant that the residents were draining what was left at that point in the clear wells. This is happening, at a time where we have support with the state there,
It's seniors and help the seniors stay in their homes. Now in November, Idaho homeowners will also know how much of a tax break they'll get. The savings will be calculated for each individual taxpayer and appear on the property tax notice, which counties send to homeowners in November. Alex Dornfest, the Idaho State Tax Commission tax policy chief, crunched numbers using 2022 property tax totals. The money for homeowners' property tax relief was 17%, the total of all homeowners' property taxes. The number will change because levy rates will have gone up or down in many of the state's 1,000 plus taxing districts. But Dornfest's estimated percentage is similar to estimated cuts of 10% to 20% that Governor Brad Little shared as they promoted House bills. Now, this is the state of Washington, and they provided a tax refund up to $1,200 for certain eligible taxpayers. The working families tax credit will make payments up to $1,200 to people who are eligible for these payments. Even the Georgia governor is again suspending state tax on gas and diesel, declaring a legal emergency over high prices. He has signed the executive order this morning in the suspension of taxes at 32 cents a gallon. Now, Georgia's government gave up an estimated $1 billion during an early suspension over 10 months to help the people out. Georgia can easily proceed to go cash now, which is used for mainly board building, but not only is the rainy day account full, but the roughly $10 billion is actually surplus cash in state accounts. The state is likely to run another multi-billion-dollar surplus in a budget year, unless revenues fall shortly. But the gas tax rebate lets Kemp instead pivot to talking about things like his tax cut efforts. He says they're an attempt to help Georgia residents fight inflation and stay in their homes.
Would you consider, or are you guys discussing any possible rules changes, either on a bipartisan basis or unilaterally as Democrats, to deal with the Tuberville?
Look, the bottom line is this is a Republican problem. Don't pawn it off on us. It was created by Tuberville solely himself. And it's up to the Republicans to put pressure on him to back off, plain and simple. Now, we're already seeing that pressure mount. Last week, one of the major Republican candidates for Senate, Nikki Haley, said that Tuberville ought to back off. And just a few days ago, one of the most powerful and influential congressmen in the House, Congressman McCall, said the same thing. The pressure is mounting. Tuberville should back off. What he's doing is disgraceful and solely his own causing. Don't pawn it off on us. Yes.
Is it a red line that Tuberville and holds? Is that to say that
That's good, because thanks to the COLA, many experts were quick to point out that money may not go too far due to surging inflation. However, the most recent inflation data has promising news for those on Social Security. Like I said, it turns out your boost benefits might go farther than you think. Now, in 2022, seniors are burdened by inflation, we all know that, but the SSA calculated that COLA by tracking the third, that's equaling a total of $1,800 for the month of March. So the Social Security Administration normally gives out checks once time. And now, when the first of the month occurs on each of the holidays, while recipients receive 2 checks the month prior. Giving people 2 checks in a month, that means the administration will not send a check the following month. But it ensures the recipients receive 12 paychecks a year. And now, eligible couples will receive a March 1st and March 31st payment. And those who live with and provide necessary care to those on Social Security will also receive 2 payments of $500 each in March. And now President Biden has said that some Republicans are threatening Social Security's future, a claim the Republicans have denied, though. The argument ignored key facts about Social Security. This includes that the Social Security trust funds can be depleted as early as 2032, unless Congress acts to prevent that. And without action, starting in 2035, Social Security beneficiaries will get smaller monthly checks, about a 23% cut from what they receive now. And almost 67 million Americans will receive a Social Security payment, totaling $1 trillion. Many older Americans rely on their benefits to pay their basic living expenses. People can start receiving Social Security retirement benefits at age 62, but the full retirements kick in when they turn 67. And Social Security is funded through the payroll tax, and that revenue is put into a trust fund to pay for current beneficiaries. The program, which was started in 1935 by FDR, has become increasingly unaffordable, as life expectancy